What's going on there, guys? Good afternoon. It's the Earthmaster here on this Monday, August 22nd, 2022 date. A whole bunch of twos there in the mix. 12:44 p.m. California time. Latest quake shows a looks like a 1.8 around the big island of Hawaii. Let's go ahead and check out the latest activity here on the map. Actually, we're going to check out some volcano activity first from a couple different volcanoes across the globe here. Stand by for just a second. There we go. And I'm going to check out Seismicity volcano up in the Aleutian Trench area. This volcano did shoot out a little ash cloud here a couple days ago. It was kept below 20,000 feet, but it is showing a little bit of signs of increase and unrest there at that volcano, which was raised to the orange and watch level. They do have a daily update that was put out today. It looks like, see what it says. Looks like low-level eruption of lava. Oh, this is actually the Great Sitkin. Here we go. Here is the volcano in question here. Low-level unrest continues with detection of periods of tremor and small earthquakes and steam emissions. Looks like that was visible in local webcams. Looks like webcam reviews showed persistent steam emissions with one view capturing an ashy plume. Now that was a couple days ago when that ashy plume was emitted there from the volcano. So looks like it's just kind of at the watch level right now, and they're keeping an eye on it. We'll see how this progresses for sure from this volcano. Now, of course, there's data out there that we can monitor, instrument data as far as earthquakes go, but this one here does not look all that accurate of that volcano. It looks a little on the crazy side, so it's kind of hard to decipher what's legit in here and what's not. I just know it looks a little crazy, so I'll check back and see if I can't find a different seismograph station there to monitor. Down around the American Samoa, still kind of watching the Tau volcano down here, which sits at advisory level, yellow. And these guys here have been having an ongoing earthquake swarm for a little while now. I'll stand by for just a second. These guys have data. Well, they have at least a couple data stations that we can look at. The most recent one's going to be the raspberryshake.org site that's kind of monitoring the ongoing earthquake swarm in activity there. This is the last 24 hours or so, maybe a little bit more than that. Looks like about 24. But looking overnight and this morning time frame, see these little small specks. Those are indeed earthquakes, but I'm not seeing any larger ones that we were seeing here a day or so ago. There's one yesterday, kind of a well-defined blip on the graph, but looks like it's still continuing. There's no doubt the earthquake swarm's continuing, but I'm just not seeing the larger quakes that we were looking at the past couple days. So we'll see exactly how this plays out. Latest updated information on the volcano there. Let me take a look here and see what these guys put out. Looks like it was put out yesterday time frame with that UTC date right there. There has been no significant change to the earthquake activity beneath the volcano there. Looks like they are installing some advanced seismic equipment in the coming days, so that's pretty cool. Can't wait to look and see what they come up with. The reports of the booming and whatnot, some sounds being detected up there among the residents are still being investigated. They are putting out some sound monitoring stations to monitor what could be going on down below there, below the surface. Definitely a volcanic in nature for sure, and still kind of keeping an eye on that area. Looking at earthquake activity over the last 24 hours shows quite a bit of movement throughout the western Pacific here. Well, this is actually the western Philippine plate and into the Indonesia area. The specifics around the western Pacific plate look pretty quiet, including down along the Tonga region, Fiji Islands area, not showing a whole lot of activity whatsoever at all. Down here in New Zealand, seen a 4.2. This comes after a 5-pointer that kind of kicked up here a day or so ago on the North Island region. So a little bit of increasing movement here along the New Zealand region. over the last couple days. The activity we're seeing around the Philippines and southward, mainly some low-grade 5 magnitude earthquakes and a 4 or so in the mix there. Further west, a little activity outside of the Afghanistan region with a 4.6. That one kicking up earlier this morning time frame. And the Atlantic has been pretty active over the last few days, north and south. Latest models here show 5.1 from last night and 4.4 as well from last night in that region. So a little bit of increase out there in the Atlantic, which is kind of, I believe, putting a lot of squeeze out here along the Caribbean plate. Noticing a pretty good trend of movement right here between the Caribbean plate and the Cocos plate boundary. Nazca plate down south. A couple 4s up and down the Middle America Trench. And the Puerto Rico area, seeing some activity up around the Puerto Rico Trench there with a couple of 3s in this region. All right, let's see what else we got here for the states. A little activity stretching across the board here. Let's see, a little bit of movement out around the Appalachian Mountains and the New Madrid zone, it looks like, just northern part. Had a 2.0. Some activity out around Texas as well. New Mexico, northern New Mexico, Colorado border getting in on some activity near the Trinidad region, 1.8 and a 2.8. Those earthquakes kicking in last night sometime. Activity along the Pacific Northwest showing a little bit of seismic increase around Mount St. Helens. We'll check out the Mount St. Helens seismograph station here in just a little bit. Also some activity down through the Oregon region and a earthquake here. Near Powers, Oregon. Never heard that. Never heard of that region. 4.6 kilometers for a 0.5. Very shallow earthquake. Down here in Northern California, right at the northern end of the San Andreas Fault, 2.0. Pretty shallow at 2 kilometers. Looking at the rest of California, just a little spotty activity. It doesn't look super active whatsoever. Looks like just a very typical day, somewhat below average for daily earthquake activity in the state of California here. So just a little on the quiet side here, folks, today. All this stuff, microquake activity. Looks like we did have one. What do we have? 2.8. This one from this morning time frame, it looks like, near the Ocotillo, California area. Down along the, looks like it's just in between the Elsinore fault system, which is kind of runs through here. And we got a couple unnamed faults in there as well. But that's about it. I mean, looking at the big picture, though, not a whole lot of movement along the west coast today. Alaska, about the same. Not a whole lot of movement kicking up here. And, of course, we got some activity around the volcanoes up here. Some of that somewhat deep. But still keeping an eye on that area pretty closely. One earthquake up here in the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench. This one was from yesterday afternoon time frame. So things just kind of on the quiet side now, folks, for the Pacific Plate. We'll see how this progresses, though, throughout the day today. Tremor map last night showed a pretty good increase in tremor. 404 epicenters of tremor down here into the northern California and portions of southern Oregon here. That's a pretty good uptick in activity. I haven't really seen a whole lot of earthquake activity following all this tremor, but that's something to watch pretty closely. A strain is no doubt building up there along the Cascadia subduction zone. The Mount St. Helens volcanic seismicity map here. We'll check this out and see what these guys got going here. A little bit of activity. Of course, it's been kind of coming and going in terms of small microquake activity. Let's see what we got for the recorded data here. Maybe it's coming up. We'll see. There we go. Earthquake activity. Definitely going to look like this right here. Well defined. This other stuff here comes and goes, and I'm not for sure what it is. It looks a little bit more drawn out or distant from the stations here that monitor the local seismic activity. So, but as far as earthquake activity goes, localized to this station, there's a couple small quakes around the region. Looks like yesterday as well. Yesterday morning time frame, seen a couple of those smaller quakes kicking up. Now again, USGS showing, let's see, what were they showing? A couple of small microquakes up there around that volcano at Mount St. Helens. Nothing big. The biggest one looks to be a 1.5, and that's kind of even just a ways away from the Mount St. Helens area. Most of the quakes that we've been looking at over the past couple months or so have been very small in terms of their magnitude in the microquake range. All right, what else we got here, folks? Let's check a space weather event real quick, and then got to jump off here. Got a super busy day. It's the start of my fall classes. Goodness, going to be busy again, taking 4 classes, and they're pretty exciting actually. A couple, at least one weather class, a universe class, and a couple geography classes and geology. Stuff has to do with the channel, right? Gotta tune up my knowledge of earthquakes and whatnot. Of course, space weather comes in the mix as well, so I think that'll come in handy with that universe class that I'm taking here locally at our college. So I'm pretty excited, but man, it's going to be busy. Going to be a busy semester. A little activity kicking up, it looks like, on the solar weather chart as we're looking at pretty good uptick in C flare category. Flares popping off. Looks like this just kind of came out of the blue earlier this morning time frame. Popped off a couple good C flares, and I'm pretty certain I know which one it's coming from. Got to be from 3085 potentially. All these other sunspots don't look super active. This one here is kind of getting its stuff together, but when was this put out? It shows 22nd, but man. 40% chance of a C flare, and it looks like these guys are forecasting it mostly from 3085, sunspot 3085. So that is going to be this one here that I noted. That's about the only one that's really sparking a little bit in terms of the flaring. All these other sunspots are just dwindling and dying away. And there's that 3085 right there kicking up. Looks like that thing could be possibly wanting to produce an M flare. It's definitely flaring up pretty consistently and solid. So we'll watch that. And see what happens. Otherwise, things just kind of mellowing out in the geomagnetic unrest there. No major coronal holes that are facing us, and unless this thing pops off a significant CME, the 3-day will be green here pretty soon, as far as the forecast goes. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off here. Live stream is back up and running. Had a little issue this morning with one of my fans shutting the whole computer system down. It went out, and luckily, instead of allowing my computer to overheat and burn down, and possibly burn down the house, it just completely shut everything off, which is good. And we got it back up and running. And like I say, it's kind of weird, but again, I do run this thing 24/7 nonstop as far as the live stream and the computer goes, so they're probably working overtime as far as the fans go. And it happens, right? So hopefully this one will last for quite a while and won't have that issue again, because it's a little on the scary side, having something possibly start smoking there in the computer room. Not good. All right, guys, have a good day. We will chat at you a little bit later on tonight, but I'm going to be busy right now with a bunch of schoolwork. Peace out, guys. Have a good day.